In today's gospel, Jesus gives his disciples a promise of a relationship of holy intimacy. You will realize that I am in my Father, and you are in me, and I in you. It is an invitation into the very life of the divine, into a relationship with the one who knows us better than we know ourselves. This is the God who brought us into existence so that we might turn away from the isolation of sin toward a relationship of love that is truly unconditional. And Jesus knows that without this relationship, Father to Son, Son to the disciple, and Spirit to the church, we would be truly orphans, lost in a world without a name, a home, or a protector. To help us understand this desire that God has, that we experience divine intimacy that he offers us as a gift, we look no further than the relationship that began our own lives, a relationship we celebrate today, Mother's Day. A few years ago, shortly before Mother's Day, I was with my mother, and she was in her 90s, and she was resting in her easy chair. And she turned to me and said, "Jimmy, will you help me?" And I walked over and knelt down by her side, and I asked, "What do you need, Mommy?" And she didn't ask for a glass of water, and she didn't ask me to fix something broken in the house, or what I was expecting, a bowl of ice cream. She simply said, "I just need your blue eyes looking at me." Isn't that the very heartbeat of Mother's Day? Beyond the cards and flowers, a mother simply wants to look into the eyes of her child. She wants to see that tenderness that the eyes reveal, to remember the joy of carrying that life, your life, and to see her love reflected back in the eyes of the one she brought into this world. Jesus says today, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." Now, when we hear the word commandments, we might think of the "thou shalt not do" certain things. And the Jewish people associated the commandments, and there's more than 10, there's actually 613. The Jewish people associated the law with the pomegranate. Jewish tradition says that that fruit holds 613 seeds, corresponding to the 613 commandments in the Torah, the law. And like the pomegranate, the law can seem dense or complicated on the outside, but it is sweet once you reach the heart of the fruit. By the time of Jesus, many people had forgotten its sweetness. They kept the letter of the law, the seeds, but they lost the spirit, the sweetness of the fruit. They forgot that the law was meant to be a relationship, a way of looking at God and allowing him to look at us with that same longing my mother had when she looked into my eyes. It is God's will that you be in the presence of the one who created you, who loves you without conditions, and who only wants what's best for you, a relationship in his Trinitarian love. We know that for some, Mother's Day is a mix of complex feelings. For some mothers, children are physically, spiritually, or emotionally distant. For some children, the memory of mother is painful, marked by illness or absence. And for some women, this day can stir feelings of grief for what could have been. For those who have lost their mother, let us commend her to the Lord. And for those grieving that loss, let us be comforted in the promise of eternal life given to those who believe in Jesus. It is no wonder that Jesus knows the human situation so well, even in this current world of global tension and uncertainty, that he uses the parent-child relationship to reassure you, I will not leave you orphans. I will come to you. And when our earthly relationships are fractured or in need of healing, Jesus reminds us that his faithfulness to us will never waver. If this day has a bittersweet feeling to it, turn to Mary. She knew the highest joys of motherhood and its sharpest sorrows at the foot of the cross. She can help heal pains and increase joys, leading us always back to her Son, leading your children to her Son. Jesus promises that if we keep his commandments, he says, I will reveal myself to you. Just as my mother found comfort simply by looking into my eyes, we find strength by looking into the heart of the gospel. When we care for the poor or the lonely, the neglected or the unloved, we are keeping his commandments, and he reveals himself to us in them. He is looking at us through their eyes, and we are looking at him. Today, for those who still have your mother with you, whisper into her ear that you love her. Lavish your time on her. Look into her eyes and let her look into yours. Cherish the time you have with her. And for all of us, let us strive to live in the love of Jesus in such a way that when he looks at us, he sees his own love reflected in our eyes, and we see in his eyes the eternal love the Father has for us. Happy Mother's Day.